Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button because today we're diving into something that'll make you either laugh, cry, or rage quit your job. The 50 absolute dumbest rules that exist in American workplace. Now, I've spent months researching this, talking to workers across the country, and let me tell you, some of these policies are so ridiculous, you wonder how companies even function. From bathroom break restrictions to mandatory quote unquote fun, we're covering it all. And stick around until the end because numbers 5 through 1 are absolutely insane. One company literally banned the word problem. I can't make this stuff up. All right, let's jump right in. Rule number 50, no personal items on desks. Starting off strong, we have companies that ban all personal items from desk. We're talking no family photos, no plants, nothing. One worker told me their company enforced a clean desk policy, so strict that even a coffee mug had to be put away at the end of each day. The reasoning? It looks more professional. Because apparently evidence that humans work at those desks is unprofessional. Rule number 49, mandatory arrival 15 minutes early, unpaid. This one's a classic. You're required to be at your workstation, ready to work at 9 a.m. sharp. But you also need to arrive 15 minutes early to boot up your computer, get settled, and attend a pre shift huddle. And no, you're not getting paid for those 15 minutes. That's over 60 hours of unpaid work per year. Multiply that by the hourly rate, and you're basically paying your employer to work there. Rule number 48, no talking to coworkers in adjacent cubicles. One call center implemented a rule where employees couldn't speak to the person literally sitting next to them. All communication had to go through instant messenger, even if you were 2 feet apart. The reasoning was to reduce noise, but it created this bizarre dystopian atmosphere where people would just message good morning to someone they could reach out and touch. Rule number 47, bathroom break tracking. Multiple Amazon warehouses and call centers have implemented systems that track bathroom breaks. Some require employees to request permission, while others track the time you spend away from your station. One worker reported being written up for excessive bathroom time when they had food poisoning, and because apparently body functions are supposed to happen on the company's schedule. Rule number 46, no red pens, only blue or black. A financial services company banned red pens because they were deemed too aggressive for communication. Employees could use only blue or black ink. When someone asked about purple or green, those were also banned for being unprofessional. So now there's a company out there policing pen colors like it's a matter of national security. Rule number 45, standing meetings, no chairs allowed. One tech startup decided that meetings were more productive if everyone stood. So far, so good. That's actually a legitimate strategy for keeping meetings short. But then they removed all chairs from meeting rooms. Got a 2 hour quarterly review? Better stretch those calves. Have a disability that makes standing difficult? Too bad. No exceptions were made initially until HR got it involved. Rule number 44, no water bottles at desks. A law firm banned water bottles at desks, claiming they could spill on important documents. Employees had to walk to a designated break room every time they wanted a sip of water. In an actual 8 hour day, workers reported making 10 to 15 trips just to stay hydrated. The policy was eventually reversed when productivity plummeted and people started getting dehydration headaches. Rule number 43, emails can only be sent during business hours. Well, here's a weird one. A marketing agency implemented a policy where emails could only be sent between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. If you drafted an email at 8 p.m., you had to use a delayed send feature. The goal was to promote work life balance, but it actually created more work because people had to remember to schedule everything and often forgot, missing deadlines. Rule number 42, no food at desks, including snacks. No eating at your desk, period. Not even a granola bar or a piece of fruit. You had to take a formal break and go to break room for any food consumption. For people working on tight deadlines or just needed a quick energy boost, this was infuriating. One person reported getting written up for eating almonds at their desk during a crisis situation where they were working through lunch. Rule number 41. Temperature must stay at 68 degrees Fahrenheit. No exceptions. One office building had a strict policy that the thermostat stayed at 63 degrees year round. People couldn't wear sweaters if they were cold because it looked unprofessional, but they also couldn't adjust the temperature. Women, in particular, complained because dress codes often required them to wear lighter fabrics. The company's solution? Adapt. Rules 40 through 31. The communication catastrophes. Rule number 40. No replying thanks to emails. An accounting firm decided that thanks emails cluttered inboxes, so they banned them entirely. You couldn't express gratitude or acknowledge receipt of information. This led to confusion about whether people had actually received important files and created an oddly cold work environment. Apparently, basic courtesy is too much bandwidth. Rule number 39. All ideas must be submitted in writing 48 hours in advance. Got a great idea during a meeting? Keep it to yourself unless you submitted it in writing 2 days ago. One manufacturing company implemented this to keep meetings organized, but it completely killed spontaneous collaboration and problem solving. By the time ideas made it through the approval process, the moment had passed. Rule number 38. No using slang or contractions. A corporate office banned contractions and any informal language in all written communication, even casual emails to team members. Instead of can't, you had to write cannot. Instead of ASAP, you wrote as soon as possible. Every email took twice as long to write, and they all read like legal documents. Imagine writing, I will be arriving at 9 a.m. I cannot wait to discuss the project, instead of, I'll be there at 9. Can't wait to discuss. Rule number 37. Maximum 5 sentences per email. A tech company went the opposite direction and limited all emails to exactly 5 sentences. Not approximately 5, exactly 5. Even complex technical explanations had to fit this format. People ended up sending chains of 10 to 15 emails to communicate what should have been one comprehensive message. Rule number 36. No using instant messenger. In the age of Slack and Teams, one company banned all instant messaging platforms, requiring all communication to happen through email or in person. Their reasoning? IMs was too informal. This meant that quick questions that could be answered in 30 seconds required scheduling a meeting or sending an email and waiting for a response. Rule number 35. Mandatory communication style matching. One company required employees to take a personality test, then adjust their communication style to match whoever they were talking to. If your manager was a red personality type and you were blue, you had to modify your entire approach. While adapting to people isn't bad in theory, the rigid system meant people were constantly second guessing natural interactions. Rule number 34. No asking questions in meetings. A consulting firm banned questions during meetings. All questions had to be submitted via email afterward. The goal was to keep meetings efficient, but it meant critical clarifications didn't happen in real time, leading to misunderstandings and repeated work. Rule number 33. Carbon copy everyone or no one. You either CC'd every single person in the department on an email, or you CC'd no one. No in between. This was meant to ensure transparency, but it resulted in everyone's inbox being flooded with irrelevant information. People started missing actual important emails in the noise. Rule number 32. No out of office messages. Employees couldn't set out of office automatic replies. If you were on vacation, sick, or out for any reason, people would just email you and get no response. When clients complained about the lack of communication, the company blamed employees for not managing expectations. How? Telepathy? Rule number 31. All phone calls must be logged with summaries. After every phone call, employees had to fill out a form documenting who called, what was discussed, action items, and time spent. Even a 30-second call required a form. One employee calculated they spent 6 hours per week just documenting calls instead of, actually working. Rules 30 through 21. The appearance police. Rule number 30. Hair must be natural colors only. This seems reasonable until you realize the company defined natural as brown, black, and blonde only. Red hair, even naturally occurring red hair, was banned. One woman with natural strawberry blonde hair was told to dye it darker. When she showed a childhood photo proving it was her real color, they said it still looked too vibrant. Rule number 29. Shoes must be between 1 to 3 inches in height. No flat shoes, not high heels, medium heels only for women. This very specific requirement meant employees had to buy new shoes just for work. When someone asked why, the answer was professionalism, which apparently has a precise measurement. Rule number 28. Visible socks are prohibited. A finance company banned visible socks. Even if you wore dress pants and dress shoes, if anyone could see your socks at any angle, you were violating the dress code. One employee was written up when he sat down and his pant leg rode up, revealing half an inch of sock. Rule number 27. Makeup is mandatory for women. Multiple airlines and customer-facing companies have required women to wear makeup as part of their dress code. Not just look professional, actual mandatory makeup. One company specified minimum requirements: foundation, mascara, blush, and lipstick in neutral tones. When employees complained about the cost, the company said it was part of the uniform. Rule number 26. Beards must be measured weekly. A corporate office allowed beards but required them to be neatly trimmed to no more than half an inch. HR would conduct weekly measurements with an actual ruler. One guy whose beard grew slightly faster had to trim it every few days to avoid violations. Rule number 25. No visible tattoos, even under clothing. Here's where it gets weird. Not only could you not show tattoos, but you also had to disclose any tattoos covered by clothing on a form. Why? Who knows? But imagine having a document tattooed on your shoulder blade that literally no one would ever see at work. Rule number 24. Name tags must show first name only. Employees could only put their first name on name tags, no last names. But the company also had 3 Jennifers, 2 Mikes, and 4 Johns. When customers asked for someone's full name to submit positive feedback, employees weren't allowed to give it. Multiple people missed out on customer commendations because of this. Rule number 23. Ties must have exactly 4 in-hand knot. Not just any tie and not just any knot, specifically a 4 in-hand knot. A manager would come inspect ties each morning, and if you used a Windsor or half Windsor, you'd be sent home to retie it. One employee who didn't know the difference had to watch a YouTube tutorial in the parking lot. Rule number 22. Perfume cologne is mandatory. The opposite of scent-free workplace policies, one retail company required employees to wear the store's signature fragrance while working. If you were allergic, had asthma, or just didn't like it, too bad. You had to spray it on before every shift. Multiple people developed headaches and respiratory issues. Rule number 21. Facial hair must match head hair color. If you dyed your hair, you had to dye your beard to match. If you had blonde hair and a brown beard naturally, you had to dye one to match the other. The level of micromanagement here is just stunning. Rules 20 through 11. The time thieves. Rule number 20. No clocking in more than 7 minutes early. You can't clock in too late, but you can't clock in too early. Some companies have systems that literally won't let you clock in more than 7 minutes before your shift. So, if you arrive 10 minutes early to be safe, you stand there waiting to clock in, but you're not allowed to start working yet. Rule number 19: lunch breaks must be taken at assigned times, 30-minute window. Not just take lunch sometime between 11 and 1, you have a specific 30-minute window assigned by management. If you are slammed at 11:47 and your lunch is 11:30 to 12, too bad, drop everything. One server was written up for taking lunch at 12:15 instead of 12 because the restaurant was unexpectedly busy. Rule number 18: no working during unpaid breaks. This sounds good in theory, protecting unpaid breaks, but some companies take it to extremes. You can't check your email, make a work call, or even think about work, apparently. One employee was disciplined for making notes about a project during lunch because it was unauthorized work. Rule number 17: bathroom breaks count toward break time. Some warehouses and factories count bathroom breaks as part of your paid 15-minute breaks. So if you need to use the restroom, that's coming out of your break time. That is actually illegal in many states, but companies still try it. Rule number 16: required to stay on call during unpaid lunch. You're not paid during lunch, but you have to keep your work phone on and be ready to respond immediately if needed. So you're not free to actually leave or relax, but you're also not being compensated. This is legally questionable at best. Rule number 15: PTO request must be submitted 6 months in advance. Want to take a vacation? Submit your request 6 months ahead. Want to use a sick day? You should have known you'd be sick half a year ago. One company required this for all paid time off, including sick days and personal days. When someone's parent had a medical emergency, they were told they couldn't take time off because they hadn't requested it in advance. Rule number 14: doctor's note required for single sick days. Missing one day due to illness requires a doctor's note. So you have to be sick enough to stay home, but well enough to drive to a doctor's office, wait in a waiting room, pay a copay, and get documentation proving you were sick. It's almost easier just to go to work. Rule number 13: unlimited PTO that's actually limited. Companies advertise unlimited PTO, but then managers deny most requests or create a culture where taking time off is frowned upon. One employee tried to take 2 weeks off after working at a company for 3 years and was told it would look bad for their career advancement. Rule number 12: must use PTO for company closures. The company closes for the week between Christmas and New Year's, but employees have to use their PTO for those days. You're forced to take vacation days when the company decides, eating up your actual vacation time. Rule number 11: no leaving until manager leaves. In some corporate cultures, you can't leave before your boss does, even if you've completed all your work. This unwritten but enforced rule means if your manager wants to stay until 8 p.m., so do you. One person reported regularly working 10 to 11-hour days despite only having 8 hours of actual work. Rules 10 through 6: the creativity killers. Rule number 10: no decorating for any holidays. To be inclusive, one company banned all holiday decorations of any kind. No Christmas trees, no Hanukkah menorahs, no Diwali lights, no Halloween pumpkins, nothing. While avoiding religious displays is reasonable, this extended to completely secular celebrations too. The office was essentially a gray box year round in the name of neutrality. Rule number 9: mandatory fun activities. The opposite problem: forced fun. One company required employees to participate in team building activities during lunch breaks, after work, or on weekends. Attendance was taken, and missing events affected your performance review. Imagine being an introvert forced to play trust fall games with coworkers every Friday or face career consequences. Rule number 8: all birthdays must be celebrated the same way. In an attempt at fairness, one office required all employees' birthdays to be celebrated identically. Exactly one store bought sheet cake, Exactly 15 minutes of celebration at 3 p.m., and the same card signed by everyone. When someone wanted to opt out because they didn't celebrate birthdays for religious reasons, they were told it was mandatory. Rule number 7: no suggesting improvements. This one is particularly dystopian. A manufacturing plant actually implemented a policy where line workers couldn't suggest process improvements. All suggestions had to come from management. Workers who had done the job for 20 years and knew it inside out were told to stay in their lane. The company wondered why productivity was so low. Rule number 6: no saying no to management. Employees were required to respond to all management requests with yes and instead of no. Even if a request was impossible, illegal, or completely unreasonable, you couldn't say no. You had to figure out positive phrasing. One employee was written up for saying, "I don't think that's possible," instead of "yes, and here are the challenges we need to overcome." The top 5: peak absurdity. Rule number 5: the word problem is banned. Coming in at number 5, we have a company that literally banned the word problem. You couldn't say, "We have a problem," "This is problematic," or "The problem is." You had to say challenge, opportunity for growth, or area of concern. Employees were fined $5 from their paychecks every time they used the forbidden P word. This was tracked through recorded calls and meetings. Imagine getting your paycheck docked because you said "no problem" when someone thanked you. Rule number 4: no sitting for entire shift, except medical exemption. Multiple retail stores have policies where employees cannot sit down for their entire 8 to 10-hour shift, even during slow periods when no customers are present. Cashiers have to stand even when there's no one to ring up. The reasoning is it looks more professional. Employees appear more available. Studies show this causes serious long-term health problems, including joint issues, varicose veins, and cardiovascular problems. Some stores have even been sued over this, but many still maintain these policies. One employee reported hiding a medical condition for years to get the only exception, a doctor's note for a serious condition. Rule number 3: performance improvement plans for not smiling enough. A customer service center implemented facial recognition software that tracked whether employees were smiling. If you weren't smiling for a high enough percentage of your shift, even while doing computer work with no customer interaction, you'd be put on performance improvement plan. The system couldn't distinguish between neutral concentration faces and actual negative expressions. Multiple employees reported feeling forced or plaster fake smiles on their face for 8 hours straight, leading to jaw pain and facial muscle fatigue. The dystopian level of surveillance here is truly next level. Rule number 2: randomize desk assignments daily. Here's a mind blowing one. A major tech company implemented hot desking, where employees didn't have assigned desks, but they took it to an extreme. Every single day you'd arrive at work and get randomly assigned to a different desk via an app. You couldn't sit in the same place twice in a week. The reasoning was to promote collaboration and flexibility. The reality? Employees spent the first 30 minutes of every day searching for their assigned desk, setting up their equipment, adjusting chairs, and dealing with leftover mess from the previous person. Any sense of personal space or routine was destroyed. People couldn't even keep a family photo at work because they didn't have a consistent space. People working on complex projects had to carry all their materials with them in bags every day. The company provided lockers, but there weren't enough. So it was first come, first serve. The policy lasted 6 months before productivity tanked so badly that they had to reverse it. Rule number 1: clocking out for bathroom breaks. And the absolute worst rule I've encountered, requiring employees to clock out for bathroom breaks. Yes, you read that right. A poultry processing plant required workers to clock out every single time they needed to use the bathroom. For a 10-minute bathroom break, you'd lose 10 minutes of pay. Over a year, this could mean losing 20 to 40 hours of wages, an entire week's pay, for the crime of having normal bodily functions. The impact was predictable and horrifying. Employees developed urinary tract infections, kidney problems, and other health issues from holding it. Some wore adult diapers to avoid losing pay. Workers reported drinking less water to reduce bathroom breaks, leading to dehydration in already hot, physically demanding conditions. This practice is illegal in many jurisdictions as bathroom breaks are supposed to be paid under federal law for breaks under 20 minutes. Several companies have faced class action lawsuits over this, but the fact that employees even tried to implement this shows that how little they valued their employees' basic human dignity. So there you have it, 50 of the absolute dumbest workplace rules in America, from pen color policies to bathroom surveillance, from forced fun to forbidden words. These rules show that some companies have completely lost sight of what actually matters: productivity, employee well being, and basic human dignity. The really frustrating thing is that many of these rules are implemented in the name of professionalism, efficiency, or fairness, but they actually achieve the opposite. They destroy morale, waste time, create resentment, and drive good employees away. If you're dealing with any of these rules at your workplace, know that you're not alone, and in many cases, these policies are actually illegal. Workers in America have rights, and organizations like the Department of Labor and National Labor Relations Board exist to protect these rights. Now, I want to hear from you. What are the dumbest workplace rules you've ever encountered? Drop it in the comments below, and if your story is wild enough, maybe we'll do a part two. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss future content. I've got more workplace content coming, including the best companies to work for that have zero of these ridiculous rules. Well, thanks for watching, and remember, your workplace should treat you like a valued professional, not a kindergarten who can't be trusted with red pens. I'll see you later in the next one.